Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. We are discussing season 22 of SVU, episode 16. Taylor, how you can do 16? There you go. Challenge achieved. I love it. This is Wolves in Sheep's Clothing, the season finale. Why we're ending with 16 episodes, that's beyond me. I mean, I know why, but I'm sad.
COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm Yel Teagle. I'm joined as always by my incredible team. Taylor Gates is here. Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
Felicia is here. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, Taylor. I missed you last week.
I missed you guys too, but I'm glad I could be back for the season finale. You know, you gotta pick your battles.
Yes, and this is the battle you picked. Before we jump into a lot about this episode, we need to give you our warning. If you are in a situation where you need help, please reach out to RAINN. Their number is 1-800-656-4673. 1-800-656-4673. Taylor, you want to tell them?
It spells hope, everyone.
Thanks. Also, sometimes this show goes dark, and when it does, we make light. So be prepared for that, because we're gonna do that. It happens.
Because
we're gonna do that.
Because do that.
Yeah. Also, I see we have some people live in our chat. Welcome. I know we're at a new time today. We were at a different time last week. I promise we'll get back to our regular time at some point. But hello, I'm going to say hello to some people. We have Daryl, Amber, Danny is here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us live. And stay tuned. At the end, we're going to tell you again about our little contest that we're doing and where you can get new S-Review merch. But first, the quick cap for the episode. When Finn and Phoebe make wedding plans, Benson and Rollins try to help a homeless single mother who's being trafficked in exchange for safe housing. So overall, what did you all think? Felicia, what did you think of this episode?
I liked it. I mean, it was much better than last week, but I mean, that didn't say like a whole lot about it. But it was. I liked it. I kind of caught the twist because I just like the rhythm of the show. I guess there was a little twist there, but I appreciated it. I think it was pretty well hidden, but still a little bit obvious, but not as obvious. I don't know. There's a lot to get into in this episode. I loved that it was, we got story and we got personal life story too. Woo. There was action, guys, and I was like, yes, I'm here for it.
We will get to that. Taylor, what did you think of this episode?
I'm with Felicia. I really liked it. I think that they handled like the three main sort of threads in it really well. I think they balanced it nicely, and I think that each story had enough time like to explore everything they kind of needed to explore. Of course, we could have gone more in depth on all of them, but I think overall it was really good. And I'm so glad we got more Garland. I really like him, and I'm so glad we get to see more of him in sort of like a shining role. Finn and Phoebe are two of my faves, of course. I'm glad we got them. And nosy neighbor Betty Swanson is a legend. That's all I want to say. She's problematic, but she's a legend nonetheless.
I love how much you love her. I agree with you all. I liked this episode. I liked the three different storylines. I disagree that we had enough time for all of them. I think that the main case could have very much been its own episode, and I would have been so here for it. And it was very clear as we were running out of time that we weren't going to see the trial, that like we were going to make a deal. So we'll talk about that in a second. I also really like this Garland stuff, and we'll talk about that as well. And of course, we'll get to the wedding. Don't you worry. But first, as Zach says, it is time to unpack these details. Oh, I need to move that so you can see it. There it is. It is time to unpack these details.
Yes.
Love it. All right, so let's talk about this case and the people that we had on in this case, because we had some amazing actors. We tied it into a previous episode. Oh,
Yes.
you guys know how much I love when that happens. So let's discuss Betty Swanson. I have to shout this woman out. This is Michelle Hurst. And this woman is I believe, 5-time repeat offender.
Make it 6. Make it 6. I love her.
She was in this episode, December Solstice, Desperate, Legacy, and The Third Guy. She's spanned 22 seasons.
Incredible.
Because her first episode was in season 1. It's amazing. She's not the only repeat offender, because we also had Terry Serpico, who played Chief McGrath. He also was a repeat offender, and I could have sworn, I was like, didn't he play a bad cop? Like, wasn't he a dirty cop at some point, and now he's chief? Different character.
But still horrible. Like, we still hate him.
Yeah.
He's not that great of... Never mind. Nah, I'll say it. He doesn't seem like that great of a leader as a cop anyway.
No.
So,
Right.
I mean, if he played a bad cop before, I mean, it's believable because he's not such a great cop in this episode. And to be the leader of them all, like he's a leader, like wow.
Yeah.
The worst.
So the storyline of the case was we met this woman, Rosa, who is with her son. This whole thing with the dogs and the word champ, I was like, why do we need these details? Taylor, I felt like you would love them.
I did, but I also was like, where is this going? But I did kind of flesh out the characters. Like, I really loved Philippe, her son, and her. Like, their relationship was really sweet, and I really found myself rooting for those two characters because they were just adorable.
Yeah.
I couldn't enjoy the adorableness though, because it was like here I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm like, oh, this beautiful woman and her very young son, who's also beautiful himself, and I'm like, okay, so what kind of predator are we gonna have? We're gonna have a pedophile or just your standard rather than like it just like who's like one of them is gonna, well, they're both the victim in this episode for sure, but like they're gonna be victimized just because it was sad. I enjoyed it a little bit, but I couldn't like fully like, oh, because I knew right around the corner was somebody to come and clean those pipes.
I gotta give a shout out to the actor who played Polly Benducci.
Creepy.
Okay, so this actor is Severio Guerra, whom I've only seen do comedic roles. So to see him in this character was very confusing because I was waiting for him to like make a joke, and then he didn't, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit.
I love how we have so many of like, maybe this is just me, maybe I'm imagining things, but we have so many of like similar sounding last names. I feel like Banducci, we've had so many like Uchi names lately. Am I right or am I crazy?
No, because I think you're right. I've also noticed a lot of the names are very similar. I'm gonna make an assumption just on how TV is made, in that you have to make a name not be too similar to an actual person. So I feel like they name it after someone in the crew because there's like some rule about that. Sorry, Morris just made an appearance.
I'm sorry, guys. Morris just made an appearance. Y'all know he's rude. He watched the episode too. He actually sat and watched it. I know that sounds like a crazy cat lady thing, but he really did watch it. It was great. I mean, he enjoyed it. Right? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So the name thing. So yes, they the names are very similar because they need to like keep them within a range, I guess. I mean, we do have a lot of the same things that like cross over a lot. It's a weird thing. But we did tie it back together to the episode where Finn was helping out that veteran who ends up shooting the one who was raping his daughter. And if I remember correctly, is that not the episode where the person is the like social worker foster dad?
That sounds right.
As we know, I'm an encyclopedia, but when it's the newer seasons, I'm like, was that this season? Was it last season? I feel like it was this season. It hasn't
marinated yet.
Yeah.
I think it was this season too.
I've only seen it 3 times. I can't, the other episodes I've seen 15.
Exactly. It's tough world.
Yeah. I really like the way this tied together, again, with that older episode, and then also with our Dr. Machado, who ran the Proud Life plays. Felicia, you're shaking your head. Talk to me.
I'm I'm trying to tell you, the minute I knew that she was wrong, the minute I was like, she's foul. And they were like talking her up, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, maybe this could be the possible introduction of a new resource for the team, right? Because think about all the connections that she had. I thought, like, it was kind of strange that they didn't already know this person if she like does all this stuff in New York. But okay. So then it was the moment when she held up like the fish. She was like proud, and I was like, nope, she's wrong. She's not. You're trying to add a hand gesture to a simple message like that. Like you're doing, I don't know. I just feel like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? That seems like a lot. Like this is already something people can support. Like, why is this like it's like the homogeny of it all, right? I think that's maybe more what it is. Like, no, there's a camaraderie among us. Like we're not like that. She's not like that. Nobody would ever have questioned her, even her being a woman. I mean, her story was crazy, which I do agree with Yell that storyline there in and of itself could have expanded to be more, because we're hearing all these officials, but we don't get anything else from that.
Yeah, it's honestly very interesting. The story is that she herself was homeless and she knows what this was like. And then later when we see Lulu go undercover to talk to her, and she has this discussion, I was like, you know what you're making these people do. You're like, yeah, I know how tough it is. Was it because you had to do it and now you're forcing others? That's such
Wasn't this storyline very similar to Counselor's Chinatown? Am I remembering that correctly? Where she was like, I have a vague memory of it.
Where she was abused and so she made other people.
Yeah, and she was like, I'm doing it to help them, like in the grand scheme. And we were like, what? Like, I feel like that was very similar to
been
this.
a couple of people on this show, like, you know, bringing like young girls to like old rich men or whatever. Like, you know, those people who are like perped so then they become a part of it, you know?
Yeah. We've definitely seen the cycle of abuse. I think this specifically feels a little weird because she's like, I started this foundation to help women get out of this cycle of abuse, but I've built abuse into it.
Yeah, it didn't quite connect with me. And I was so sad because I was rooting for her. I was like Garland. I was like, oh, this woman is awesome. Like, she's doing so much good.
We're
she's
so hurt.
Really crushed.
So
I was.
He found out she was a fraud. He's like,
I had a little inkling, but then I was like pushing it down because I didn't want it to be true. But then it was true.
He says, he's like, you know, she's so dedicated. She probably doesn't see it happening. Like she's so invested that she doesn't see it. I like when Benson was like, either she's ignoring it or she's the ringleader. And he's like, no, it can't be.
No.
I don't think that's the end of that. I don't think that's the end of that for Law and Order. Like, I want to believe that's a season finale. It has to mean something going into next season, no? Like, so I wanna believe that maybe we got just enough of that storyline to get the base of it all, then for it to be something later, because she was naming all these politicians and all these, like, when are we ever known to avoid a scandal? We are ripped from the headlines.
I'll tell you when. Last season, when we got cut off. And it was that whole, I don't remember the name of the guy. But, you know, there were so many hired people
Sir
involved.
Toby.
We thought that one lawyer, DA, I don't remember who was involved. Never came back.
Hadid.
Hadid, and she disappeared. Where is she? So I would love it if they connected all of that together, because we didn't really get finalization in that. I don't think so.
We're just gonna obliterate everything and just start from scratch. Well, there's other things that they cannot start from scratch from. So there's other parts of that episode, maybe the personal side.
We'll get there. Okay,
but you know what I mean? There's so many power people.
Daryl says, why does Garland only know messed up people? Great question.
Yeah, because he was friends with the pastor too. Okay. Maybe he just turns a blind eye.
He believes the best in everyone. Well, Amber says if there's any higher ranking official in the Law and Order verse that gets built up as a good person by other characters, I'm going to assume that they're in fact horrible people. Wait, as evidenced by every other episode in the series. Jennifer says, Whenever someone is praised too much on the show, they always have a shady side underneath. Yeah.
It's true.
You guys are all right. I think what's interesting is at the end, Machado flips on all her high-profile clients, so season 14 happened to have been on the other day, which starts with the end of Ganzel, which takes us into the Delia storyline, which then brings us Barba. But those episodes were on, and I was watching them yesterday, so I was like, oh, it's literally just we end a season or begin a season with somebody who has high profile clients flipping on them, and that's how we wrap up a season or begin one. Yeah. Daryl asks, has the actress who played the DA left? We have not seen Hadid all season, and I assume she's gone since she's not dealing with anything that Garland is, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I want to finish up with this Rosa thing, because in the end, she gets to keep her apartment. So I want to understand. I don't understand how subsidized housing works, because I just don't. I also, the New York housing thing was very new and confusing to me, but so she didn't have a job, which I understood. She was looking for work, and the way she was getting to live in this apartment was by sleeping with these people, and she wasn't getting paid for that. She was just getting the apartment, which is her payment. So when that ends and she gets to stay in the apartment, she now has to pay rent.
I don't know how that works either, actually. I don't know.
I guess it works the same way that people's kids who are part of the investigation get to stay at your house. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. All right. It doesn't follow any rhyme or reason. I mean,
when Benson says to her, like, you get to stay here, in my mind, I went, and pay rent? How do I have to stay here? Like, she can't afford to stay there.
I mean, it's a subsidized housing, like, unit. So, I mean, if they decide, the housing authority or whatever people decide to not make her leave, then yeah, she can stay there because she seems like she qualifies for it. But like you said, they jumped the line with
right.
Sex. I thought it was crazy that the other girl, I forget her name, the other young lady who had lived there before, that nosy lady, Mrs. Swanson, complained about the same thing, and she ended up getting with a guy who was like affiliated with that. I was like, wow, like you're so deep into this. Like, how many other women did y'all do this with? And then the lady at the laundromat broke it down. She was like, oh, you really new to this. Like,
Amber tells us subsidized housing is she pays a certain amount from welfare likely, and the rest is subsidized by the state. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you. That's very helpful. Amber just like always comes in here with the facts that like we don't know, and I appreciate that.
They're great questions. But yeah, there were, we had the other women. Lulu's in the apartment, and she's got the same deal, but her deal seems to be a lot neater because there's an NDA. She has like a contract, whereas everyone else it seems to be as long as you do what you're supposed to. Again, I wish that story would have been the whole episode. I would have liked a lot more of that. But we also have this Garland thing, as we've been talking about through the season, and as Finn mentioned, Garland thinks that change is coming. It's not.
He does not.
And not only that, he's getting shunned, he's getting in trouble and yelled at. And then we have this weird hearing with Chief McGrath where he explains that the increase in rape reports is a good thing, which like we know because we've watched 22 seasons of SVU, but like this guy who works in the police doesn't know.
I think it's all about optics to him.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, if numbers are going up and people are going to think it's more unsafe, they're going to yell at us. Like, so it's like a double-edged sword. Like, if numbers go up, then yes, it looks bad, it reflects poorly on you. But if they're like, but it means that more people are coming forward too. So it's like you can't win.
Right. Which is why he was like, my closure rates.
For it. Like, yeah, exactly.
It was a very personal attack, which the man should have been fired.
Yeah, get him out of here. It sucks.
Anything you want to add to this, Felicia?
I just sorry guys, I know it's television, but we gotta be real because they're talking about real world things in this show, and I just feel like it was so outrageous that it was not even impactful. If you're trying to show that this one person has stood up, and then here comes this angry white boss yelling at him without context, allowed to treat him. So it just makes it more, it fictionalizes it like so much more, if that makes any sense. Because it just seems so unrealistic. There's not a space where that's actually going to happen, where his boss is going to maybe yell at him like that in front. Like that wouldn't happen because his boss would think to himself, oh, well, I probably shouldn't do that because he just testified this and it would look bad on me and I can get in trouble. Like in the real world sense. It's just like, just don't even do that. And it was just stupid for him to not, I don't know. It was like, just, he's docile. Like he just stood for what it was. He's docile, and now he's like if you're gonna just get rid of his character, just get rid of his character a different way. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't really feeling it. It just felt too. I mean, I know it's a drama. I know it's a TV show, but you're talking about some real stuff here, like when involving police, involving race, involving a person of color who is a police officer at this particular juncture. You know what I mean? It just didn't seem like, again, it just didn't give me what I thought it was supposed to give. And maybe it gave more to a different audience. Maybe it wasn't written for me. I don't know, but it was real performative.
People in the chat,
I didn't appreciate it.
People in the chat are with you on this.
Actually, not sorry.
Jennifer says they always go over the top with the villainy. Agreed. Daryl says it felt a bit over the top. I agree. I think that him yelling at him in his office, that I believe 100%. Privacy of an office where he yells at him. Yeah. I think him yelling, and now you're all woke, I think that's a whole other conversation. Like, okay.
Did you not see that he was brown skinned this whole time?
Right.
Did you see?
I almost feel like
a really nice tan. Like
the discussion kind of almost felt like it should have then taken us to, like, did they put Garland in this leadership position for the optics, or did they actually believe that Garland could be a leader and make a difference? That's where this conversation should have gone. And I think it didn't, because, and then again, seeing him being, as you were saying, yelled at in this public-ish forum seemed odd. And then the ridiculous shaming of turning their backs on him, which people are talking about it a little bit in the chat. On Organized Crime, there was a very similar cops shaming of a character, and I was like, oh, this feels dumb in terms of like storyline. Like, no.
I mean, that's not the first time I've seen it in television or in film. Right. There's another movie. It's called Black and Blue, and it's about a black police officer going through the day. Some of the things happen. I ain't gonna tell you the whole movie, but basically, there's an intersection of her being black and her being a police officer, because people say Black lives, and what do people normally say back to that? Blue lives matter. So, or all lives, or whatever. So that black versus blue thing, and and Garland's character is that he's in one of the highest forms of leadership like that we see on the show. So I just feel like maybe that could have just been tackled a different way. And I don't know if anything would have necessarily appeased me, because I don't think anyone knows how to perfectly craft that just yet. In hindsight is 2020, but I was like, I don't know, maybe it didn't come across how they wanted it to.
Yeah.
I hope that we continue talking about it next season, because I don't think this works at all if they don't do that. Especially that we're planting, like, oh, the old guard may be coming for him. I mean, that's foreshadowing if I've ever seen it. The fact that he's like going to the doctor for something and he thinks it's just stress, but they want to make sure, like, it doesn't make sense, I feel like, to plant that and not expand on it. So I'm hoping this was just like a rocky start for something that continues and like gets to be a little bit like stronger and maybe subtle. I'm just glad that we got him like in a story, like I said, like a starring role, because I think he's such a great character with a lot of potential.
Yes.
And so I hope they keep it up, like letting him sort of shine and seeing more of him like battle his personal demons, I guess.
I agree. I think Garland is an amazing addition. I love having him on our show and on our team, and he is a regular this season. That said, if you want to talk about, planting some seeds for future episodes, do you remember when the prison guards were going to murder Barba, or when they started giving us her drinking problem, which disappeared?
Right.
Or remember
okay.
when...
Just rub it in. I'm an optimist. Yeah. Okay.
That's how I felt earlier. Like, yeah, I'm going to be optimistic that it's all going to come together. What you, Taylor? Yeah. Cheers.
I just can't. It hurts me. Oddly, the chat thinks that Garland's gonna die. Amber says he's gonna die. Calling it now. Daryl says he's definitely dead.
I agree with the chat, but I didn't want to say it. I agree with the chat, but I didn't want to say it.
I don't think they're gonna kill him. Look, here's why I don't think they're gonna kill him.
He's gonna leave because he's sick or he's too sick.
They just made him a regular. Yeah, I don't want him to leave yet.
They're not going to tell his boss you're killing this poor black man by putting all this stress on him. It's hard. They're not going to tell his boss that. So he's not going to be sick.
All right. Let's move on to what you actually all want to talk about, and it is the wedding.
Psych.
The wedding.
First of all, I think that their choice to not get married was the most realistic thing ever, because the entire episode was other people being like, this is what you're doing. This is what you need. Add this. Invite me. All of these things.
Also, I saw on Twitter, and I completely agree. They were like, he cannot get married without Munch and Craig in there. And I agree with that. You cannot have him get married unless you bring those two back. Like, it just isn't, it doesn't feel right.
That's true. Munch should have 100% been there.
I would have fell off the bed if he would have popped up on the screen. I would have actually probably had an episode myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think them choosing to not have a wedding and not getting married ceremony is great. I love the fact that they were late to it.
They're so funny. I literally love them so much.
It felt so right. Also, let's talk about Carisi's girlfriend, who was not coming to this wedding. I will say, we said before that she was too cool for him, I believe are Taylor's words. And the truth is, we were right that because as he says, he thought at this age he would be married and have kids. Like, he wanted a very traditional life, and she is very modern and progressive, and it was never going to work. Also, we know that his heart belongs to Barba. So anyway.
You cannot sit here and say that after you watch this episode. I can't believe. I knew one of y'all was going to have the nerve to say that. I knew it was going to be you.
We
watched them.
Go on, Taylor.
Here's the thing. I've done nothing but talk shit about this ship. However, I kind of liked it in this episode, and I kind of get it, and I'm like kind of okay with it. Because here's the thing, I felt like the speech scene I thought was so sweet, where she's like, as long as it's under 2 minutes. I was like, oh, I love that little banter. And I thought it was cute, and I think it makes sense, especially that we're talking about how Carisi wants to be married and have kids, and Rollins is like very untraditional in ways, but she has like those traditional sort of values still. I feel like being Southern and just like her whole character, it makes sense. So although they're very different, I think that they do connect on that sort of level, and I just thought it was sweet. I liked their little scene by the river, so like you, I'm happy to say that I've made a mistake and I don't hate it anymore. I'm okay with the powers that be. And that's my speech. And that's my speech under 2 minutes.
Here's what I'll say. I think that they built it very slowly and they built it right. I think that they led us to a point that made sense. everything before this, had they hooked up, had anything happened before this, I think would have felt wrong. And the fact that he tried to make that move in one of my favorite episodes, where they go to that other place to pick up that girl who's catfishing two different people. Intent, that's the episode. That episode is the one where he was like, I'm into you, and she's like, I'm just having a good time. The truth is, I keep saying that she needs to not sleep with coworkers. He's no longer technically a coworker. He's not a cop anymore. And they do have an actual relationship that is built on love and trust and respect.
Yes.
So,
And he has a relationship with her kids.
yes, also he's great with her kids. So I get it. I understand it. I still
You
think
guys don't know how much I'm enjoying this.
I still think he should be with Barbara.
I agree with you.
How
I
much
agree
I'm
with you.
enjoying this.
I think that the relationship is not like the hot and spicy kind. It's very much like you said, built on trust but I think that's what Rollins needs and what Carisi's always wanted in a way. So I think it makes sense. However, I'm with you. I'm still on that train. But you know what? You can be on two trains at once.
Y'all, the train has derailed. There's actually literally no.
I'm holding on to both cars.
I'm so sorry.
way.
Is Barbara dead? No, it's not over. It could still happen. Daryl says, I guess.
That's fair.
Man, I mean, okay, so this is the thing. I agree with Taylor. It wasn't hot and steamy, but it was like a little Caesars. It was hot and ready. It wasn't steamy. But it was ready, you know? It was pizza. It was a kiss scene. It was pizza. It's fine. But I definitely agree. It was their love was like a slow burn.
Right.
And, that's I think that's the best kind. That's the longest lasting kind. I'm interested to see what happens. Finn not committing is definitely something. I can't even believe he proposed. He want me to be totally honest. So I definitely didn't see a wedding. But I didn't want to sound too much of a pessimist. I think that the after effects too, because then I don't know if they're really trying to ship these. They're really trying to ship Benson Stabler, and I can't. And that's the one I can't do. And I'm sorry, I can't.
Here's what I'll say. I think that one is also going to be very slow. I think I saw someone tweeted something like that one has to be
already
earned.
been 22 years. How much slower can it go?
He just lost his wife.
That's not it. I'm sorry. I think that they're teasing us. They're teasing us.
And I'm having
they're dangling. They're not gonna do it. The whole when she got a glass of wine and how did they meet? Oh, they were partners.
That look was the most. I was like, ooh, so subtle. The most subtle thing I've ever seen.
Are they dangling the carrot in front of me? Yes. Am I going to continue to run on the treadmill? Yes. Let's just put it that way.
I think that we're headed towards that eventually. I think if you're watching Organized Crime, they're being less subtle.
32. Season 32.
Yeah.
I think look.
So be it.
It's gonna happen at some point.
Look, I think Law and Order's gonna be on for 10 more years. Season 32. What?
You do know it's already renewed through 24, so.
Yeah, let's go.
I know, but I feel like it's just never gonna end. If you want me to be quite honest with you, I know that sounds ridiculous. But I can't imagine it would change, but why would it ever end?
Jennifer says, I don't ship Stabler with anyone. Great actor and character, but no one should be with Police Brutality King. That's a great point, Jennifer.
Isn't it fair? That's
funny.
I want to say that he's learned, but I've also watched Organized Crime.
But honestly, though, can you remember at any juncture where he was super romantic towards Kathy, where he was overtly romantic?
One. I remember one. It was
how many seasons?
It was in season 1. I believe it was episode 3. And
beginning.
It was, and this
all
is
marriages in the beginning. You get a romantic gesture.
It was the episode the episode is called "Or Just Look Like One." And it's about the models. And he's worried about his oldest daughter Maureen, having an eating disorder, and so he's like, "Hey, Kathy, that Italian restaurant, blah blah blah." And Maureen's like, you can't get me to eat Italian. And he goes, you're not invited. And then he like whisks away Kathy. That was it. That was the most romantic he's been.
Well,
Liv has a better love story.
What a charmer.
Look, here are some things that are missing from this finale. And the finale of Organized Crime. We still don't know what was in the letter. Taylor, I know you're gonna keep reminding us of this letter. She has not yet told him about Tucker. And again, as I was saying, season 14 was on recently, which is where she rekindles with Cassidy. She needs to tell him about Cassidy. He knows Cassidy.
Why?
He knows their history. He was there when it started. If she needs to tell him about Tucker.
Why does I don't know. I get it, but maybe it's the realist. The realist in me is like, if you're dating me today, it doesn't matter what happened. You were gone. Like, so,
right.
Like, I'm not like trying to be. I ain't here for you. You got to get a postcard. They were getting a Christmas card. Like, you couldn't even send me an email or anything. Like, I didn't hear anything from you. You come back and give me some letter. We don't know what it says. It could say whatever it is. We don't know. And I'm supposed to give you now all of my. No, why should he know?
I think that if they're going to be together, then
they're not.
I just think that
Stop it.
Tucker and Stabler had history, and Cassidy and Stabler had history, and I think that's what matters. Is that he had history with them? It's not just some stranger. Because he doesn't need to know about her and Hayden, or her and who else is she doing?
I feel like one question begets another. I'll just run them all down.
Anyway, Jennifer agrees with you. I don't think she owes him an explanation. But Daryl says Tucker is different.
Yeah, I don't think she owes an explanation, but I think that, he's going to find out eventually, some way, somehow. So it's probably better to just clear the air on that.
Because, as Daryl says, Tucker literally tried to end his career. I think that the relationship was much more serious.
He's going to organize crime. His career is he's doing some still.
I just think that if she needs to tell him about anyone, she was much more serious with Cassidy. He literally lived with her.
Yeah.
Tucker and her.
Did they go to Paris?
A trip versus living together? Girl, I got to teach you about relationships.
You're right, I don't.
All right.
Paris is pretty far away, though. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, it's time for us to talk about the best lines. There it is. I've won because I agree with it.
Oh, okay.
Weddings are a patriarchal institution designed to transfer ownership from the father to the husband. 100%.
Damn.
Go on.
Love that. Just put it on blast. Okay, Nicole. Felicia, do you have any?
How many lines you got? Yeah, you know.
That was all I had.
I do have one.
Yeah, go for it.
One. Yeah. So my line is when the maintenance man left, he said he was fixing his pants. He said, "I'll clean your pipes anytime, or any day or something." And I remember my stomach did like a little, like a flip, like it went like ugh, like it was like ugh, like I had a jerk reaction to that, and I was like, "That's disgusting." That's my line.
Nice.
Send me his comedic roles. I need to see him in a different role now.
Oh my god. Okay, go watch the show Becker. I don't know if it's still good, but it was good when it was on.
I'll check it out.
Of course, I have to share a line from my girl Betty Swanson.
Yeah.
A woman had a parade of corn dogs. It's just like such a funny way to phrase that. Another marriage one. That's why we have honeymoons, to recover from the wedding. I feel like that's probably valid, considering it's stressful to attend a wedding, let alone be in it. And then of course some of the cheesy ones from the wedding. Partnership is a lot like marriage. I thought that was kind of sweet. And then of course his first partner to partners, we have a little toast at the end, and I think that's just a good way to end the season, if nothing else. Whether you ship it or not, that's a good solid line to end on.
Yeah. We have people in the chat saying Carisi's speech was corny and only saved because of the acting, but
That's him. He's not gonna write something not corny. That's
but
his whole
Zach
character.
says Crazy's speech was the best line. I agree. Honestly, for those who don't know, I'm officiating a wedding in a couple weeks, and I've been watching a lot of stuff with weddings in it, seeing what I can steal. And so I was like, this is so cute. I can't steal it because they're not partners, so like it doesn't work. Oh, we lost Felicia. That's okay.
Felicia said, if you talk about Elliot and Olivia one more time, I'm leaving.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can get her back on. There she is. Okay. So, those are best lines. Now let's talk about the weekly poll. Oh no, before the weekly poll. Nope, that's it. Weekly poll.
Okay, great. So I was not here last week, but the week before that, we watched Postgraduate Psychopath, and the poll was, what's your favorite Killer Kid episode? My little topic there. In third place, because we have a tie for first. Third place, so upsetting by this, is Lost Traveler, the Lily Reinhardt episode.
Wow.
Get some taste, everyone. Get some taste. Because that only got 10.5% of the vote. 10.5 of you percent, you're valid. The rest of you, get out. In second place, we have Conscience, which is season 6, episode 6.
That's a great episode.
The great. All these are actually very good, I thought.
I think that's the issue, is they were all really good episodes.
They were all really good. No, I guess it's fair, but still, she deserves better. And in first place, we have a tie between Juvenile, which is season 4, episode 9, and Postgraduate Psychopath, which is the one that we watched and talked about. So yes, all great episodes. And this week, we are asking you all what your favorite part of the not wedding was. And right now, in last place is other, comment below. We have no one who has commented below yet. In third place currently, we have Finn and Phoebe being happy. Ironic, considering it was their wedding. That's fine. In second place, we have the releasey kiss. A lot of people were really excited about that. I'm happy for you all. And in first place, we have the toast to partners with 50%. The people have spoken today, and we'll see if that changes.
Here are some others. Some others.
Here's some suggestions.
Kat bringing that girl that we saw her spend New Year's Eve with. Like, it seems like
out of that.
They're serious. Seeing Ken and Alejandro there. I love that they brought in his, like, what a great use. What?
All right, so I'm gonna tell y'all something. No, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry to this man. I'm sorry, sir. But I did not recognize Ken at all. I didn't recognize him at all. I felt like you ever go to like a family reunion or something, and you're like, all right, a cookout or something.
Fair.
You're like, hey, you're like, hi. You're talking to you, like, who the heck is this? And you're like, oh my God, you're such and such. Like, I totally didn't recognize you. You don't look the same at all. Like, I didn't recognize you. I didn't recognize him. I was like, why are they putting this? That's what I get. I spit because I was talking about him. Why are they putting this man on the camera? Like, why? This is weird. It's the extra, like, in the wedding, but why are they so focused on him?
You want to talk about extras?
I was like, he looks so familiar. And yeah, I'm like, he looks so familiar. And I'm like, oh my God, that's his son. Like, what's wrong with me? Why did I not recognize him? He looked totally different.
No, that's okay. We haven't seen him for a minute.
We haven't seen him. I also almost didn't recognize Alejandro. I was like, wait, is that a different actor? And then I looked it up and it's not. But it's been years since we've seen them, and they are adults now.
I guess it's like the same when we saw Stabler's kids. We were like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa.
Only one of them looked familiar.
Who are these people?
Amber says, my favorite part was Benson's dress. I love the big print. That belt needs to go, though. I agree. The dress was cute. I would have preferred her in something more form-fitting, but that's just me. Zach says, Kat and Celine. Yeah, we'll tell you where this vote is, where the poll is in just a minute. But yeah, there's a lot of other things that happen. I would also say, I think that people just showing up late to the wedding, like that's not how weddings are. You don't miss the ceremony. That's rude.
I love how they had to keep explaining it's fine, you didn't actually know.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the thing, don't worry. Like,
but like
it was just our wedding day.
The bride and groom were late and you were later? Like, that's rude.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, anyway. So those are other things you could vote for the weekly poll.
It's rude, but it did work out well, though.
Yeah, it did. I actually personally really liked the fact that there were multiple queer couples at this wedding.
Yeah, me too.
That felt very realistic, and I liked that. So next up is, what did we learn? Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready. I learned about the pour door.
Yeah.
First of all, as I have learned through 22 seasons, I do not understand New York apartments at all. So the fact that there's this real fancy building that also has a pour door, and that there's laundry in the bottom of the building, even though people have laundry in their homes, like this, I learned a lot.
Well, it reminded me, if you guys have watched the Cecil Hotel documentary,
Yes.
that like really scary one.
It was
but
disappointing.
That reminded me. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really scary, but it's a crazy story. But how they kind of tried to make two hotels with like the motel and then like the fancy hotel at the bottom, and so that's the only reason I like kind of knew that already, is because of that like documentary about the. I mean, it was a hotel, it wasn't exactly the same, but
right. I found that interesting. What did you learn, Felicia?
And I was right.
Go on.
You were going to be together.
Oh, about that. I was like, yes, about which part?
In your face. And that they were going to get together eventually. And I knew I was right. And I'm happy that I listened to myself. And I also knew that when I watched them kiss, that both of you probably screamed at the television.
Well, listen,
there was no visceral reactions. I don't believe that.
I felt that it was earned.
What I learned is that, and you'll see my little tweet yesterday, that I do like it a little bit because of that scene. It convinced me. So
I screamed because I was like, I thought of you too.
I was convinced. I cried. Okay.
You cried? All right.
No, but I was like,
like how many tears? Like just one? Like
it didn't even trickle. It formed my eye and didn't fall, but it formed.
That's respectable. Because if you were like 2, I would have been like, too much.
No. I wasn't sobbing, but I was like,
well, all right. Anything else we learned?
Nope.
Okay. People in the chat are telling me that pour door is actually a thing in big cities.
Yeah,
I
awful.
have lived in big cities, just not New York. I'm blaming.
I've never heard of a pour door.
Me either. I think what I found very amusing was the fact that they kept calling it, like, once they understood what it was,
right?
They still kept calling it that. Which
is the back entrance or something.
I wanted to believe it was like not pour door, but like corridor, or like I wanted to believe it was a different word.
No,
completely, but it was it was the
not.
same. I was like, am I hearing it? Because they kept, like you said, they kept saying it. I was like, am I hearing it?
Right. It's
I put closed caption on.
It's funny because the first time it was said, they were like, what? And then I think it was Kat who was like, oh, let me explain what this is. And I went, okay, now we understand. And they kept, I was like, stop saying that. That's rude.
Yeah, for real.
All right. Before we wrap up, as a reminder, we've been doing a little contest of sorts with comments on YouTube and iTunes for our show. This is the last episode to enter that. And then next week we will be doing reruns all summer long because, we're not going on hiatus. There's 22 seasons to talk about. So Taylor, tell us what's going on.
Yes, so we had a couple of comments on the YouTube video from last week. We had Suli710. Thank you for commenting. She said, I missed that she was texting in court and thought the twist would be he faked the text, which that was a very good like theory, because that was a very odd part of that episode. So that was a very good thought. And then me OG, I don't know how you would pronounce that, but MEOG. The twist about believing male victims of domestic violence because they will believe all women no matter what. Yeah, that definitely was like a different take on that situation. I feel like we've seen it a little bit before, but I agree that it was nice to like reaffirm that.
Yeah.
So thanks for commenting.
Thank you. Any iTunes?
No iTunes.
Okay. So of the people who have commented, we'll pick someone and an episode that they will recommend, and that's what we'll talk about. I think maybe next week we'll do one that we choose, and then the week after we'll let them choose.
Yeah.
That seems right. We'll be back at our regular time, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see. I have to
Yeah.
look at my schedule.
Would be okay.
I might have to move us. Yes. So that also, in case you miss this news, you can buy a Slammin Pair of Jeans onesie or a Justice for Snowball t-shirt or pillow or sticker on our Redbubble account. There's a link in the description below. That's right. Justice for Snowball and or Slammin Pair of Jeans, because that's what your baby is, a Slammin Pair of Jeans. Link is below, but until next episode, Taylor, where are you and where can everyone find the poll?
You can find me and the poll on Twitter at alphabet_and. You can also find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_.
Amazing. And Felicia, where are you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at It's Felicia Michelle.
Perfect. That is the place to find her. I am everywhere at Yell Teagle. That's YAELTYGIEL. I'm here on Sundays. Wednesdays, I'm talking superheroes. We're going to be talking about Loki this week, of course, and all the other superhero shows. Also, I have Twitch on Mondays and Wednesdays, where I'm playing Super Nintendo on Mondays and something on the Xbox on Wednesdays. And playing is a loose term. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much, Jennifer, Amber, Zach, Daryl, Danny. Oh, I saw more people. Zach, I said. Jennifer, Amber, I said. Okay, I said it. Thank you all so much, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.